People think discipline is something that you have to do because you need to do the things that you don't like to do. That's only true when you're getting started. I don't believe in the whole notion of do what you love. Passion, do your passion, and the money will follow. I never really enjoyed coding when I got into it. I never enjoyed sales and business and selling to these 9 figure schools. I never really enjoyed that part of learning how to sell.
Today, we have a very special guest who started his career in a very different way. Shoaib, Assalamu alaikum.
So Barakah means blessings, right? So like it's just you get blessings from whatever you do. So that's good from what you do
Yeah.
and what you spend, what you make, and how you greet people, how you talk to people. And you benefit the life of yourself and also others.
Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, amma ba'd. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome to another episode of Rise of the Young Muslims, where we bring young talent who have taken decisions at the right time of their lives and have completely changed the trajectory of their life and their lifestyles. Today, we have a very special guest who started his career in a very different way. He started in a hospital. He had a hospital job, but he didn't quite like it. And he decided to take matters into his own hands. With 8 months of self learning, he learned coding all by himself. He learned everything that he had to know about AI all by himself. And now he runs a boot camp. He has his own AI software that schools, international schools, use to monitor their students and their performances. Alhamdulillah. So without further ado, I would like to welcome onto the show my brother, Shoaib. Assalamu alaikum.
Alex, thank you for having me, bro.
Of course. Of course. So, Shoaib, since when are you blind?
Bro, this happens literally like 10 seconds before this video recording, you know? So unfortunately the lights are very bright here. So I said, let's do the podcast or the hook, at least with the with the glasses.
Of course. Khalas, khalas. Okay. So today's topic is about barakah in time. Now, we all have 24 hours in a day. You have 24 hours in a day. I have 24 hours in a day. He has 24 hours in a day. Yet, for a lot of people, 24 hours is not enough to get things done. But for some people, it's more than enough to get things done. And the only difference between person A and person B is the way that they spend their time and the blessings that Allah has bestowed on them in the time that they invest towards building something for their future. So, Shoaib, with your 24 hours that you have in a day, how does it look like?
24 hours for everyone is slightly different, but everyone has the same day, right?
Yeah.
Everyone has the same numbers of sleep that they think they should be getting. I'm of the opinion that you don't need 8 hours of sleep. 8 hours. I was actually reading this the other day that the whole 8 hour works, no 8 hour work, 8 hour sleep was made by the Industrial Revolution, capitalism, the 8-8-8 day.
Yeah.
8 hours sleep, 8 hours work, 8 hours of recreational time. So since I started my whole entrepreneurial journey, and even before then, I would think that I'm pretty okay with 6 hours, 7 hours, 5 hours, sometimes depending on my daily activity. If you're an office worker, you work in an office, I work in an office. If you work in an office, you are just sitting down all day. So why do you need to then lay down for the 8 hours? Unless you're up on your feet, you're working construction, then it kind of makes sense. Or you're a sportsman, or you're elderly. Alhamdulillah, we're not elderly yet.
Of course.
So with that being said, my 24 hours starts with the moments I got sleep. The best way to get ahead in life, I used to think, is waking up really early and doing work.
Yeah.
So, and this is what we're always told.
Of course.
The best way to start your day, in my opinion, is to start the night before.
Yeah.
So I have this notebook right here that I'll literally like carry around in my flipping pocket, bro, in my car. Whenever I get like a massive priority I have to do tomorrow, I'll look at my notebook and be like, okay, cool. I have only 3 things during that day I need to finish. Or I need to start and finish. So if it's urgent, I'll add the urgent thing. So I'll make sure those 3 things are written the day before or the night before.
Yep.
Once that's done, then 9 out of 10 times I'll start after Fajr, especially in the winter time. It's not difficult. And then, bro, from there it's just like coffee after you pray. Sometimes I take a cold shower. So I used to start this cold shower way back in 2020 when I learned how to code. And back then I had to wake up like 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. to get an hour of coding in and learning in
Mm.
before my hospital shift.
Yeah.
I used to work in hospital before tech. And that would help me, like the cold shower would help me to kind of just switch my brain on, about this. Like it's really important
Yeah.
for your brain, it's good for inflammation, kida kida. And that was really good. But if I don't need that, I'll get up, pray, and then just do 90 minutes of deep work with a coffee and with 1 cup of water. After that, I have a bit more clarity. I'll take a walk. So nowadays, especially, it's not as hot right as it will be in summer in the US. So I'll go for a walk just around my neighborhood. I'll get another cup of coffee if I didn't have coffee, or I'll just go have some water, electrolytes, come back, work out if I need to work out that day, and then go back to another 2 hours, and then the day would really start, So then it'll be, breakfast and then meetings or whatever kind of stuff. I usually catch up with my team around 1 o'clock, because my team are in like 3 different time zones. So it's, I wish, I could like spend or like £3,000 a month on our office and everyone is in office, but so far everyone's completely remote. But as soon as I can get an office for everybody, everyone's coming inside. That's a whole other story. But the whole work from home thing, I don't believe anymore.
Really? Subhanallah. So you start your day the night before.
Yeah.
And hypothetically speaking, like let's say in general, you're starting your work day in the early morning before Fajr, I would say.
Yeah.
Right?
So Fajr, if I go back to sleep, my whole day is pretty much not ruined, but like I only go back to sleep if I'm having a rest day.
Yeah.
Where I can tell with my whoop, like, things are looking bad, go to sleep, drop.
Yeah. Why do you think, what came into your mind to make the decision to do it, to start before Fajr, not 8 a.m. or something?
Fajr or the early mornings, 4, 5 a.m. is the best time to get anything done. Gym, business stuff. This is before the whole world is awake. This is before social media really gets up. This is before you have any responsibilities. And before I even had a business, before I even started freelancing and whatnot and building websites and apps for companies, way before that, I would wake up early just so I could fit in at least 45 minutes of coding in. So because I was really desperate to get my job. I really wanted to get a role in tech, and I had to do anything I could to get that. And my 9 to 5 at that time, which was at a hospital, I wasn't gonna let that get in the way.
Yeah.
And I knew when I go home after in the evening, I'd be tired. I'd want to go work out. I'd spend time with my family. Back then, I was living alone anyway, so it was just like, brain was finished. I was mentally collapsing. So in the morning time was like I'd rather work for me before I work for someone else in the morning. I tried to do the whole night owl thing. I was never really a night owl. Some people would say they're a night owl. It's nonsense.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you agree. Like,
Yeah. Fair enough. See, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam
so,
told us that Allah has blessed the early hours of our day, right? Early hours of our day comes the time of Tahajjud and Fajr. Those are the early hours. And he just told you exactly the logical aspect of why that is. Obviously, it is a hadith that Allah has told us that it is a blessed time of the day. But the reason why it's so blessed, especially in a time like this where social media is everywhere, you have your phones, you have everyone texting you, you have family, you have everything. Anyone can contact you at any point of the day. Everyone is asleep. The whole world is silent. It's just you, your work, your focus. Anything that you can build, you can definitely do it at that time of the day. Now, when I started my business, uh, I used to be a night owl at the start, 100%. But then the way I realized that I should do my business work in the morning, I work a 9 to 5 as well. The reason I realized I need to do my business work in the morning was because I used to go to the gym in the morning.
yeah.
When I started my fitness journey with Omar, Muslim PT, so I used to go early
I
morning.
saw your case study, by the way. You
Yeah,
put it on
it's
Instagram, mashallah.
crazy.
Yeah.
So I used to go Uh, Approximately an hour before Fajr. Like, not an
Oh,
hour, like,
before Fajr?
yeah, half an hour before Fajr, I would leave the house. I'd catch Fajr at the gym, pray in the prayer room,
Oh, yeah, smart, smart, smart.
and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
go
Smart. Yeah, yeah,
work out,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Now, the thing is, I've trained for 3 years, no progress, nothing whatsoever. And then I would say, yes, working with Omar, it definitely helps. But then I'm like, I go consistently before Fajr, I train during Fajr, I pray Fajr, I leave the gym at Fajr, get ready, go to work, whatever. But that's when my day started. I'm like, I've doubled my weight in like 3 months. And I was trying to gain weight, which is hard.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I'm like, huh, let's apply this elsewhere. So I moved the gym to the evening and let's try work in the morning. I started my lead gen and everything because I have two businesses. I have the lead gen agency and I have Build with Purpose where I teach younger Muslims to build a life of purpose, discipline, everything one on one. So now I'm doing Build with Purpose early morning for
Mm.
students that are usually from the US and everything. That's why I take those calls. But in the early days of the lead gen agency, we're trying to work that out early in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I started to work. Obviously, I had two lead gen agencies, one with a partner, one that I run alone now. But the things that I got to learn, all the education about lead gen that I needed to know, I learned it in those early morning times.
Best
Because you
time. Your brain is
focus,
most
you're
active.
wired,
Yeah.
you're like, bro, you got out of bed, you woke up, you need to focus. You're telling yourself this all the time.
I think by 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, I mean, who's really getting like even when you go to the office, right?
Yeah.
You know, you're getting a donut, some coffee, you're catching
Yeah.
up with some random nonsense meeting that you need to go to, and then you catch up with a colleague, and then you have okay, he's about by the time you actually get work done it's like 11 a.m., you know?
Mm.
By the time you get work done, it's like 11, 11:30. And this is why I think like the whole 40-hour work week, the way it's structured makes zero sense because that was designed for factory work.
Yeah.
9 to 5 was always designed for factory, minor labor work, um, not office or not even like, like knowledge work. If we know our circadian rhythms, some people are more active in the evening, some people, most people are more active in the mornings, then we'd shift it to start work at 7 a.m., be done at 2 p.m. Like teachers, there's a reason why school teachers start so early.
Yeah. Of course, they have to prepare their content and everything. When
Exactly,
do they have the
exactly,
time for this?
exactly, exactly.
Obviously. Yeah, yeah. Now, my next question to you is something that you can address to the youth out there. My question is, obviously, there are some actions that build your barakah, and there are some actions that steal your barakah away from you.
Mm,
Could you give the youth an example, someone who's 18 to 25 years old? What is an act that can help them build barakah in the time that they're investing into something?
mm.
And what steals it away?
So, alhamdulillah, with my, I guess, my age and my experience, I've seen a lot. I've traveled a lot. I've had multiple mentors. And the biggest thing that not a mentor has told me, this is like my own sister has told me actually. The biggest thing that would always steal your barakah, in my opinion, now is music. Like but like a bad habit that you think is not that bad, even though there's a whole thing around music is
Mm.
like we see these nonsense fatwas and from anyway. So music, I'm not gonna go into that.
Yeah.
Music, obviously pornography, social media, which actually leads to pornography, to be honest, right? And then talking to women without good intentions, it's just nonsense, time wasting, right? That leads to sin. And the biggest thing that would add to your barakah is the sunnah salahs, right? And I believe that when you pray more sunnahs, you're more likely, more proactive to go to the masjid more. You're more likely, more proactive to pray fajr at the masjid, right? If you listen to this and you're in a Muslim and you're lucky enough to be in a Muslim country, you have a masjid that's 2 minutes away from you. It's the easiest thing in the world. Even if you're in a non-Muslim country, try your best. Like my dad, I don't think I've ever seen him miss a day where he doesn't go to Isha, and he has to drive there for quite a bit. Back in the UK, and that inspired me to even when I moved out up north where I lived alone. Actually, I wasn't living alone. I was living in a house share with some fat Iranian guy who smelled up the entire place. I'm not gonna lie, but apart from that, like alhamdulillah, I was in a place where it was actually the capital was predominantly Pakistani, and it was a beautiful masjid nearby. I had a bike back then as well. This is before it got stolen.
Okay.
Okay. And that was pretty good. Yeah, so pray sunnah salahs. And the other thing that will add to your barakah is, especially if you're young and you don't have that many dependents, give to sadaqah, like give charity, like have a monthly direct debit, feed the poor. Ramadan is coming. It's like it's not difficult. And wallahi, every time, uh, not just me, but anyone would give to charity, you'd get so much more back in barakah, in finances. He's finding new opportunities, and try to work and try to like volunteer for charities as well. Like, you know, Ramadan's coming, you can feed the poor, you can help out. There's plenty of companies that do it. Passive blessings, I've recently come across that they do it. I think every week, at Fajr time, they give out food or something like that. Is in person. So that way, if you don't have money to give, you can just give your time, which is something that's actually more expensive, more qali than
Money.
money. In my opinion, even though it's not, for some reason, people don't abide by that,
Yeah.
rule where your time is not money, your time is everything you have, like that's something that once it's taken away from you, you can never get it back. I'm 28, man, this year. Well, next year, this year I'm 29.
Uncle.
I'm an uncle, bruv. I'm an uncle, I'm sure. you know. And mashallah, I'm surrounded by youngsters. I've been mentored by elderly. I say they're elderly, they're 30 years old. Sorry if you're watching this, but 30. And I do regret some things, that I didn't take heed in my past. I should have started my business before. I shouldn't have gone to uni. And then luckily, my university degree was not paid. It was free because it was in the healthcare industry. But that was my last year. That was free. The year after me, they ended up having to pay for it, and then that was the whole other thing. So yeah, take advantage of your time whilst you're still young. Learn skill, and if you don't have the skills yet, learn discipline. Discipline will build a skill. Once you build skill, you'll build autonomy and you'll build evidence, right? Because once you build evidence that you can build a funnel, you can write good emails to outreach to clients, you can build a lead gen agency. Then after that, once you build that evidence, you can build confidence. And confidence is something that no one can take away from you. And the same goes with skills. So it goes from building discipline to building skills to building evidence to building confidence.
Now, my next question to you is now, this is something that I go by. My day is planned around my salah, right? So let's say I see salah as these blocks in my day.
Yeah.
So from tahajjud to fajr is one block, fajr to dhuhr is another block, dhuhr to asr is another block, and as it goes to after isha.
Yeah.
Now, I get things done between each of these blocks, and each block is like different hours of the day. Some are 8 hours, some are 2 hours, you never know. So, my question to you is, if someone were to plan their day around this law, I'll share with you my experience as well, but in your in your perspective, if someone were to plan their day around their salah, how would their day go? How would their energy levels be? How would their productivity, their focus, and everything that they're doing, studying, working, how would that look like?
I love that question because when I was young, my friend's mum, she runs a school, and she's, especially when we were studying for exams, she used to tell us, don't plan your day around your salah. Like, no, don't plan your salah around your day. Plan your day around the blocks of salah, as you beautifully described the different blocks during your day. So when it comes to business, fitness, and the blocks of the day, I used to think time management was about time management. It's not. It's about energy management.
Yeah.
So during the mornings, the best time to do creative work. So I write my emails, my interesting client DMs, like outreach DMs, where like I send a random voice note, I tell a wacky story that gets replies and that gets cool bookings. I do that in the mornings when my mind is most creative and I'm more fresh. Then towards the afternoon, that's when I do my meetings, social time, where I can kind of just sit there, eat lunch, drink coffee while I'm talking to my team members or clients. So that can be the time, between Asr, between Dhuhr and like late Asr, let's say.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to like Maghrib time, that's when like I start to kind of wind down the work stuff. And I like to get weightlifting done during that time. Anything cardio related will be like in the morning if it's a cardio day. It's different for everybody, but it also increases your energy. So during the day, you don't want to be relying on coffee to increase your energy. You want to be relying on the natural energy produces, which is your muscles, which is your brain, and it's increasing your endorphins, your dopamine levels through natural resources, which is working out, good food, sunlight, not the phones and the blue lights. Towards the evening, this is something that I really want to start working on more, is reducing the screen time in the evenings to increase my melatonin. And then that way, once you increase your melatonin, it's a lot easier to obviously wake up for Fajr.
Yeah.
But then it's also easier to kind of like, do a witr prayer and then tahajjud before you go sleep. Sorry, because you can do it before you go sleep. Um, then during that time, the best time in my opinion to do that is to like dhikr. So if you're again fortunate enough to live in a Muslim country, or you're not, but you can still walk to the masjid, get one of these clickers or the tasbih, walk to the masjid and do some, dhikr there. Or on the way back, get some steps in, do some light exercise, jog to the masjid, whatever the case may be, and then go sleep fairly early. That's kind of how I like to manage my day. I manage it with more about my energy levels rather than time. Unless it's like, fitting in meetings or friend stuff or social stuff. But otherwise, when it comes to other stuff, it's so much easier to manage about my energy levels, which is why uh, Fajr is early to rakats, which is why Isha at the end of the day, when you've eaten food, you have a bit more energy a little bit for rakats.
Yeah.
As I said, it's for Dhuhr, it's for, Allah made these things for a reason, back we were supposed to be, we could have got 50 salahs,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know,
Yes, yes, yes.
so we're very fortunate, and for some reason, we all make the mistake of, myself included, sometimes thinking, oh, I have to pray. I don't know, like it's a blessing that we have to pray. And the fact that you're even being guided to pray is a massive, massive blessing, because apparently there are Muslims out there who just think prayer is optional,
Yeah.
it's extreme, you know, young or old. I see this all the time, subhanAllah.
So that reminds me of a very interesting statement that I've learned. Um, People think that if I don't pray, I will be punished. But the reality is, you not praying is the punishment.
Yes, yes, you were punished that
Exactly.
too, but because you're outside of the fold of Islam, so
Exactly.
that's even worse anyway.
Exactly. Outside the fold of Islam, number one. Obviously, when your akhirah is gonna be cooked, literally.
You're finished. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, you're gonna be baked alive, bro.
Yeah. Akhirah is cooked, and the peace and sweetness that you feel in this dunya as well from salah is gonna be taken from you.
Sah,
You'll be
sah,
stressed all the
sah.
time. And so, to be honest, my personal story on when I started taking salah seriously was obviously wasn't very consistent with it whatsoever. But I made the decision to change my life completely. And the reason I decided to change everything was the people around me. Because I always heard and I knew this in the back of my mind that the people around me will kind of form the person that I am. So the people around me obviously weren't the best at the time. And my goals towards my future were a bit different. I used to go to Umrah every year, still do. Um, but I didn't want to be that Ramadan Muslim only guy, right? I
Mm.
want to change that. And I made obviously a very big investment into a mentorship for my business, but that also allowed me to get into that network of the mentors and then get introduced everywhere.
Mm.
And to be honest, that was the initial step that I took. And obviously, I put a lot of my savings into that um, investment.
Yeah.
So that was like me sacrificing something for the sake of Allah for something better. And even now, I look at like, for example, I was at home. I was telling my dad I have a podcast with a friend. "Hey, what does he do?" I told him, "Well, what you do?" He's like, "How do you meet these people?" I'm like, I do not have an answer.
Freedom Club. Abulonga. Shout out AK Bikes.
Okay, right. So yeah, obviously there is sweetness in Salah, and that was actually when I started taking my Salah seriously. So obviously in the start, still the prayers weren't consistent. Nothing was working. The business was not building up to what I wanted it to, even though I was putting the effort in. And then I'm like, okay, let's start praying. Let's ask the one who's gonna give me my risk to give me my risk.
Mm.
And then obviously then it started to build up. So it helps you in this dunya every way possible.
And it
Business
makes
wise.
life a lot easier and a
Exactly.
lot simpler because when, like, for example, right now we have all these celebrities, non-Muslim rappers turn to Islam.
Yeah.
Central C, I don't know if you heard of him. He reverted to Islam, and at this point, I'm not surprised. We live in the UAE. So many reverts. I know personally a lot of reverts who are here, who have been here for a while. Money, fame, status, women does not make them happy. And happiness in itself is a fleeting emotion.
Exactly.
But the permanence of another life, if you do well in this life, that's something far greater than happiness. And if you throw in reputation and money into the mix, think how many people you can influence. All right. So Central Cena has probably influenced hundreds, if not thousands of people to at least consider this religion.
Yeah.
And from there, I see this whole rise of like the Muslim economy.
Yeah.
People see all this stuff about, Muslim entrepreneurs and selling their coaching and investing in startups. And I was just in Qatar the other day, and I was with one of probably, if not the biggest Muslim investments or venture capital or venture studio in the West, right, in San Francisco, and they're investing hundreds of thousands of dollars into Muslim startups. They give offers there, and bro, it's kind of like it's insane the stuff that they're building. And they're all Muslims. They're all from like Bangladesh, Pakistan, Somalia, from the Arab countries, Africa, Alhamdulillah. And people will often see that. And like I said, you came from a background where you weren't around the best people. Those same people now are probably, all those friends now are probably looking at you like, oh, he's starting this, he's starting, and they're kind of insecure about themselves.
Yeah.
Your friends, especially if you're trying to get to a good level in life, would only want good for you, but they don't want you to be better than them. So they want you to do well. Your friends will want you to do well, but they never want you to do better than them.
Yeah.
Every time I saw my story the other day, or that was this morning.
Yeah.
We have this whole thing, and I used to think like, you see all these like guys, these entrepreneurs talk on their podcast and be like, "Yeah, my friends, they weren't really root for me. They're haters." I'm like,
Yeah.
and before I started making money, I was like, "Whatever, man. You're just chatting nonsense."
Yeah.
I was like, "Whatever. It's just something to say for clips." Now I realize, bro, like it's true.
true. It's true.
Like because when people can't relate, something inside of them just itches like to just be super negative because they're insecure about themselves. If they see you in the gym and and you stop going for kebabs every evening,
Yeah.
they feel some type of way because they know they can't do it.
Yeah.
They want to feel better about their choices,
Yeah.
and they see you winning, and they think there's no way this guy's winning. This is a lie. This is a scam. This is, he's cheating himself. He's gone into this, da, 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 da. And they're happy, or they want to be happy in their own comfort. It's sad, but that's just how the way it works. And once you leave that circle of friends, it's a lonely world, bro.
Yeah.
It's a very lonely world until you realize, you meet other brothers who are very like-minded, and then it's just kind of a healthy competition rather than a competition for the bottom of who can be in the best freaking FIFA team or something.
Yeah.
Like
Why do you think it is the case where people want to stay comfortable? They know that they have to take this action. They have to go through some uncomfortable times. They're here all over the place, but they don't do it. Why do you think that is, especially for younger people?
people think discipline is something that you have to do because you need to do the things that you don't like to do. That's only true when you're getting started. I don't believe in the whole notion of do what you love. Passion, do your passion, and the money will follow. I never really enjoyed coding when I got into it. I never enjoyed sales and business and selling to these 9 figure schools. I never really enjoyed that part of learning how to sell. Only when I started getting decent at it and I started getting small wins. So for me, I considered a reply back from a client a win for the week. If I had one reply
Yeah.
from a week from my prospective clients, I'd be gassed.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's that kind of small wins that people need to actually get and
Yeah.
chase rather than the big 10K month. That's gonna take a while to get.
Exactly.
Focus on the minor before you focus on the bigger picture. Once you start doing that, then the discipline will just follow because then you realize you need to send 10 15 messages a day to random businesses, after you spend 3 months learning how to design websites, for example.
mm,
Then once you do that, then you need to do a lot more to eventually close the clients, fulfill for the clients, and then get testimonials. Or if you want to know how to get into the industry, tech industry, the legal industry, I don't care what you're trying to get into. There's loads of things you need to do that seem crazy to do, you know?
mm,
So I tell people like, look, if you want a job, especially if you want a job in tech in the Middle East, you need to send like maybe 50 Loom videos a week or a month, depending on your niche, to get ahead of the competition. Applying on LinkedIn or Indeed is not going to cut it anymore. You know, you have
yeah,
to outreach. And a lot of the time, that outreach can turn into freelance work, contract work, connections,
mm,
friends, business partners. You
yes,
never know. Like one DM could change your life.
exactly, exactly. Now, my next question to you is if we jump back to Barakah. Now, Barakah is something unseen, to be honest,
Yeah.
right? Obviously. But how can someone tell that there is some barakah in what I'm doing? There is some barakah in my time. Obviously, it's unseen, but there should be some signs that you can cognitively say that there is some barakah here.
As long as the core aspects of your Islam and your iman is not dipping in any way, then I think there's barakah in it. And if you're benefiting people. So if you are helping a struggling business, especially if it's a Muslim business, or just they're good people, let's say,
Yeah.
they don't have to be Muslim. You're not dealing in haram, in riba, you're not doing this other stuff, you're not gambling, you're not stealing, and you're still making money or traction in any way, there should be some barakah in there, you know? There's like um but if you see that depleting, if you see your relationships crumbling, if you see your relationship with your parents and your good pious friends crumbling because of you chasing this specific business goal, then you can tell there's no barakah. Because if you end up with $1 million next month,
Yeah.
but with zero friends, zero family, your health is in tatters, you made money, but you made zero barakah. You're in overdraft in barakah.
Mm, exactly. What, in your eyes, obviously, we are talking about barakah. Let's talk about what it really is. What do you think barakah is in itself?
So barakah means blessings, right? So like
Yeah.
it's just you get blessings from whatever you do. So that's good from what you do
Yeah.
and what you spend, what you make, and how you greet people, how you talk to people. Um, and you benefit the life of yourself and also others. So, for example, there's this notion in corporate world, right, or even in business, where like you do good for me, I return a favor, kind of thing. So we, alhamdulillah, as Muslims, we don't believe in that. We believe in, hey, I'll do good for you, I'll do good for you, and in hopes Allah will give me something in return,
Yeah.
some in one way or another. If not in this life, then the other. Because we operate that way, there's a reason why the Muslims pretty much, have the largest empires in the world, right?
Exactly.
Alhamdulillah. In the future, in the past, in the present, and the reason why everyone is flocking to this country, you know, clearly there's barakah, no matter what people say.
Yeah. Exactly. That's true. I did have an opportunity before. I think it was early days of the lead gen business. I think because I tried a lot of businesses as well. I tried lead gen. I tried a clothing brand. I tried.
Close, okay.
I did. It didn't come to life, but it was like very very close to happening, but it didn't work out at the time. So I believe this was at the early stages of the lead gen phase. So I wanted to generate kind of make like a referral system between people. So, like, I say that I know XYZ and then I do lead gen for you. So, I go here. For example, if I do lead gen, I find a school, like, I know someone.
I see. Yeah,
You get what I mean?
that's
So, that way I funnel the leads to you and then I take a commission out of it.
hmm.
But the thing is, obviously, um, following even the thing that we don't do, like I do something for you, do something, that aspect is still there. So anyone that you so I went to the brothers and like, this is what I'm planning, and then they say, look, in the business world, obviously there is the favors kind of thing. So you do something for me, you bring me a client, I bring you a client,
So,
right? But obviously, so how we work, and I decided to ditch that concept at the time. Then I built with purpose, my other business. And now I'm like, okay. Here, I'm just, to be honest, it's a low ticket business I'm doing with Khalas. It's mainly to help the youth. Because honestly speaking, my temper gets really tested when I'm with some younger people, to be honest.
Mhm.
Obviously, I'm saying this when I'm 20, but it's crazy.
How do you know?
20.
Your English is 2-0.
I'm 20.
Bruv.
So I'm being an
MashaAllah.
uncle. I'm being an uncle saying this, but
Mhm.
when I see someone or when I'm with someone, maybe at the gym or I hear something, someone from uni, where they talk, the things they talk about, in the back of my mind, I'm getting pissed off that, bro, this man's got potential, but he doesn't know the direction that he should be going in.
Yeah, man. Especially, I'm not gonna lie, I hate saying this, but especially in Dubai, man.
Yeah.
Like, because you lot are so sheltered,
Yeah.
it's so safe here. You can go out, do whatever. You can, it's not that,
Yeah.
You, I see a lot of like, yeah, they're jarring, especially because of some of the schools here. I've never seen schools here be so lax because kids aren't even in school that much. Like, you guys get a lot of time off,
Exactly.
and parents are still paying crazy money. But the youth here, they're mentally fried.
Exactly.
Sometimes, as quoted by Muhammad Hijab, mentally, intellectually molested. The
Yeah.
kids are.
Exactly.
Bro, TikTok has finished you guys, man.
Yeah.
Like, I'm seeing some of these kids, man, and they're like 22, 23 even. I said kids, but like youngsters. I believe kids are like under 20,
Yeah.
after you hit 18, you start, especially as a guy,
Yeah.
you start fixing up, and you just scroll, scroll, scroll. Even my friends who are the same age as me, some of them, I'm like, yeah, he kind of just he outsources his whole thing to like, oh, I got ADHD, ADHD. I'm like, bro, have you been diagnosed? La. Okay, what is it then? I just can't concentrate. Okay, why? It's your damn phone. Like, it's just sorry, it's just so like, I have never had TikTok on my phone.
Yeah.
Never will. You know me, have a really weird relationship with Instagram. I do
Yeah.
say install it, delete it, install
Exactly.
it, delete it, install it. Um, Twitter, I'm hooked to. I'm not gonna lie, but at least I'm reading on Twitter. It's just, but I don't have it on my phone. Even then, I have it on my laptop. So ever since it's been 4 5 months now since I had no Instagram on my phone, I have it on my iPad. So that's where I kind of airdrop my stuff.
Yeah. Exactly.
I still post the story because it's on my iPad. My iPad is at home. I don't actually leave it. I don't take it with me, right? Because of that, that has helped me like just meet so many people. I'm able to sit at a cafe, put my phone down, talk to people. And you don't see that with today's youth. You see that as like you have to repeat stuff, you have to shout stuff, you have to be even slightly rude to get their attention
Exactly.
and be a bit outrageous sometimes just to get their attention, which is, like it's a bit stupid, It's
Exactly.
just what is this? But SubhanAllah, this is I think, and this is why I'm really glad that you made this build with purpose. May Allah put
Inshallah.
barakah in it.
Inshallah.
I mean, and this is what this is what they need, man. This is what they need.
Exactly. So it is what they need. And obviously, you're working with schools. So I want to pose this question to you. A lot of parents see this issue and they see it as something that comes from schools. Like, my kid is like this because he goes to school. This is where, like, how these kids are. They need to be homeschooled.
Mm.
So if.
That's actually a good point because we work with a couple of
Yeah.
schools, and their biggest issue is because the students are all learning through Zoom,
Yeah.
that they can look at ChatGPT and copy and not really think about the problem and whatnot. And this is what our platform actually helps with. So our platform can detect if they're even switching tabs and how they're using AI. And because the teacher gets all that data on how that student is even using AI, they can alter their lesson plans and their grading and whatnot. It's also in English and Arabic. So primarily Arabic is what we try to focus on, which is why in the morning I have a flight to Riyadh and I'm working with the school there as well. That was actually one of our first clients, which is why I'm going there to continue building the relationship. And parents don't understand, and even teachers, how smart these kids actually are because they will do anything to get out of the problem, right? Homework. We
Exactly.
used to like, especially some of the rich kids in school, they used to like sell or like, pay for their work to be,
Yeah.
their homework to be done, right?
Yeah.
That was the thing to do. That was considered cheating. Now we have ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, and whatnot, and the kids will find a way to just get around that. And now I'm thinking, parents are paying 50,000 dirhams Yeah, for their kids to basically get taught by Silicon Valley developers. You know what I mean? Like by these guys who don't even know that they're teaching some random Emirati's son. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's really bad. But I think that's what it is. AI is disrupting everything, and especially so education.
Mm.
And wallahi, these school leaders have no idea what they're doing.
Mm.
This is why they come to us.
Mm. Fair enough. Well, see, this was back in high school, back in COVID times. I was in Azerbaijan. So this was the high school thing we used to do. We were online schooled. So going back to your point of online school, at that time, I think ChatGPT was not very popular, right? During COVID.
It came out in 2021 late.
Yeah, exactly.
It
This was
wasn't.
2020.
Yeah.
This wasn't like before ChatGPT and everything.
Yeah.
So online exams,
Oh,
I was what?
they finished you with that, huh?
I'm like 16.
You were road. You were road dogging it, huh?
Yeah.
You were just.
I was 16. So we had this hybrid kind of model where we where we do some classes online and some at the school, and then like half the class comes to school, not the full class, something like that. So online, we had some, we started, right? And we're having our exams. So the way is, for example, this laptop, let's say, is my exam going on. So I would have my phone, right, with Telegram open, and we would have a group chat of all of our friends
Yeah.
there. And we had this one Indian kid who's the smart one,
Yeah.
proper studies, and here, and my phone is right here, right on the screen. And then we're doing our thing, and I'm like, question 5, easy. So obviously, coming back to the point, yes, there is some good in studying online in the sense that you're not exposed to a lot of nonsense.
That's true.
Right? But there's also the bad. There's an advantage, disadvantage to everything. Disadvantage to studying online, staying online is there's a lot of things you can work your ways around, right?
Yeah.
Cheating and whatever. So that is my opinion as well, coming from my personal experience, because I think this was the case for a week, and the next week when we went to the school, grades went.
You got exposed, huh?
They called me in our the head of department or whatever, I don't know what you call it, but he called me in. He's like, Shahid, like,
What's going on, bro?
you were getting like 90s, 100s, whatever. Now you're back in school. What's this? You're not even passing.
You should have just let me welcome home again. And then you study. Then I'll show you the 90s again.
Exactly.
Telegram.
Exactly, yeah. So, in your opinion, if it's not the school that's the issue, do you think the school itself is?
I think the school system is broken. I learned to code in 8 months without a computer science degree, without a boot camp, and I got a job. I got my first job offer in 6 months. Actually, I said no to the offer, and 2 months later, I got my first role as a junior software engineer. That's learning to code before ChatGPT and AI. So imagine what you can do now. Imagine how much that exposed a typical computer science degree. 4 years, yeah, 4 years. The same people who are doing those 4 years, they graduate, they come to me, say, "Hey, can we get into your boot camp? Because I have learned nothing from this degree. I learned a very old, outdated system that's not being used in the industry. What do I use now? How do I get a job? Kida, kida." It's sad to see.
Mm,
And the answer is like, just, you have to build, man. Like,
exactly.
one of our recent mentees, he just built 7 apps and put it on the App Store. So AI has accelerated everything with our bootcamp, alhamdulillah. And now we're able to get people who didn't even want to start businesses, but is building apps for some of my client network in Dubai. So I'm hiring my own students to build even my software, by the way.
Okay.
This is not really out there. So if you're a school, you didn't hear this. The students aren't building it. Don't worry, I have professional developers. Anyway, but you know what I mean? So it's like, I am doing a better job. The boot camps out there that I've seen that are a tenth of the price are doing a better job than these institutions that are charging crazy prices plus interest. Schools, though, that's universities. So schools, a lot of it is kind of also just for babysitting. Let's be real. Parents are working full time, mother and father. I get that, and it's a social thing as well. So school is not just about education. My gripe is with freaking higher education, man. That thing is a scam.
Yeah.
I just think, you know, for example, if you're doing a business degree, right, you're only doing it because your parents want you to do it. You're not gonna learn a business through someone who has never started a business before, and he sits there lecturing you about why he didn't do this assignment,
Yeah.
about how to freaking do sales and negotiation. Like that has nothing to do with an actual business. Like, try and actually sell something. So I think, like, because there are a couple of like tech boot camps out there. There's only one that I'd even recommend, and that's from my boy Zakaria. I did a podcast with him recently as well. Actually, he has a boot camp called Silicon Sales. He teaches about tech sales, how to get into the tech sales industry. So if I didn't go to coding, I would 100% get into sales,
Mm.
door to door, phone sales, real estate, and everything in between. Tech sales is the best in my opinion, because it's like I know tech, but anything else also works as well, because sales is just the art of communication, but you also persuading someone to do something, right? So apart from that, man, school, I just think it's just something it needs to be changed, in my opinion. The whole system, and AI is going to expose the school system very, very soon.
How do you think there's?
So there's a school in Texas called the Alpha School,
Okay.
right? And this is basically a, a bunch of kids in a classroom with a laptop and headphones,
Okay.
and they talk about AI for 2 hours. Then done. 2 hour days. The rest of the school day, which is like a few hours more, 4 hours or something, they learn about life skills. And these are like 12-year-olds,
Yeah.
learning how to start a lemonade stand and start, doing a little business, or learning how to, be in a courtroom or something. I don't know, like actual life skills
Mm.
that are to do with life, like what's
Yeah.
going to
Yeah.
happen post education. Because now I saw stats, 47% of 12-year-olds in the US admit that they feel underprepared for the workforce coming ahead, the new AI workforce.
Mm.
So if you're not learning everything about artificial intelligence, how it works, how it doesn't work, now they're gonna struggle ahead, because what's happening now is they're only hiring people who know how to use AI, or they get rid of you. Soon they're gonna even get rid of us anyway,
Mm.
and automate everything. But in the next 4 to 5 years, they're gonna hire only people who know AI, just as important as they know Excel,
Mm.
or as they know how to build PowerPoints and reports and how to do a presentation. We were taught way back in school that you need to know how to present, right? They used to like force us to do that, and I understand that's like the only skill really, like because we still see that in,
Yes.
in the corporate world, in the business world. You present talking like this, a lot on Ray Bans, and just being professional and communicating well, right?
Mm.
And that skill is never going to die.
Mm.
So if you learn that, if you learn how AI works, you're going to be very, very good. If you don't, if you learn how Speed and Ray and all these streamers and flipping, and all this nonsense, and FIFA and whatnot, if you continue learning that, good luck.
Yeah, exactly. Now, obviously, we're gonna kind of reframe this around AI this episode, okay? Because that's where the conversation's going, and I like it, to be
Okay.
honest. So, my next question to you, obviously, is if someone's willing to learn about AI, right, the right way, the Islamic way, obviously, there's some very wrong uses of AI that people can go down, right? What is the right way in like the way of Islam from what we know so far? Obviously, this is something we've never seen before. So, from what we know, how can we get proper education about AI itself and get some barakah out of it?
So when it comes to AI, depends on your goal. Muslims, some Muslims use ChatGPT for fatwas now. Let's be real,
Yeah.
and just to get quick answers, and ChatGPT, OpenAI, if you knew what they were doing behind the scenes, you would delete it from your phone, or you wouldn't use it for Islamic stuff, right?
Mm.
So always check your sources, go back to the original sources, ask, your imams, ask your sheikhs to double check, read actual books. And if you still want to use ChatGPT for this kind of stuff, it's not bad unless you ask enough, until you ask for the sources.
Mm.
So ask it to check the sources, where did it get it from? And oftentimes it actually gets the source from Islam QA anyway. So it's not in the end of the world. But especially if you're young, it's important not to go the easiest route.
Mm.
ChatGPT is seen as something that gets very quick answers. So you can change that in the settings by changing the model that you use.
Yes.
So if you're using 5.2 thinking, if you're using the extended version, it thinks. When it's thinking, it's using tokens, and tokens is basically the currency of AI.
Yes.
So if you have a certain amount of tokens, you have a certain amount of time or bandwidth to think and look at the right sources, and then you can obviously you ask it to use a specific source. A lot of people don't know that OpenAI and ChatGPT is actually trained largely off of Reddit,
Mm.
and we all know how toxic Reddit can be
Yeah.
and how much misinformation there is.
Yes.
So if you don't use that, you can use Claude. So we help and train our teachers in the schools that we work with across the Middle East. We help them to use Claude. Claude is, Mia Mia is really, really good, right? Because they're kind of actually the creator, the founder of Claude. He used to work at OpenAI. He didn't like what they were doing, and then he just made his own thing. And now there's these two competing forces, which is quite interesting. And I like to see the comparisons. We also have, and I'm keeping close attention on this, Muslim AI apps out there, Muslim LLMs trained on trusted Islamic sources. So if I can manage to find some of them if they were published, because I'm working with one at the moment, based out of Africa, and I'm
There's
in
this one
touch with
I've heard.
another one in Indonesia.
This one I've heard of, Deen Buddy.
Deen Buddy I've heard of, yeah.
Yeah.
Deen Buddy as well. So we should probably put some links on the
Yeah, of course.
at the description if people are really worried about this kind of stuff. But the best thing you could do, like, just seek ilm from actual, people, and just do your, just think about it from a common sense point of view as well.
Yeah.
But otherwise, if you want to use it for your studies, for business, go ahead. But learn how it works. Learn how LLMs work. Learn how RAG, retrieval augmented generation, works. And then you'll find so many use cases of AI. You could probably start your own business, your own AI agency. It's the best thing in the world since the internet came out, in my opinion.
Of course, 100%. Now, in your opinion, so let's say someone young now, we do have 10 minutes left. So someone young, let's say 18, 25, 18 to 20, 25-year-old, has decided to take action now, okay, change their lives, learn about AI, and build something that's going to bring barakah for them in this dunya and akhirah. What is the best source, in your opinion, that they could go to learn about AI itself? Or to build something through AI?
YouTube. I'm not gonna lie, like, this is where I started learning YT.com, bro. Like, just YouTube is the best. YouTube is the best university ever. But I'll be specific, yeah.
Yeah.
There are a bunch of channels out there. You can go to my channel, Tribe, SHUAYBA. I don't just talk about AI, but I talk about tech and how to build tech and make money with it, not just through a job, but also starting a business with it. There's this thing called vibe coding. So those are the sources. But I recently got this book in Qatar. I forgot what it's called now. Something about AI agents, right? How to build AI agents.
Yeah, I think
I haven't actually read it just yet. I just
Yeah.
posted a picture because I like to post about what I do.
Yeah.
I read the first 2 pages. It looks good. It's a bit of a heavy read, but I'm gonna read it on my flight tomorrow because it's quite a thin book, so I can get through it on the 2 hour flight to Riyadh. So I'm gonna get a full name for you, and you can put it in the description. I think it's still free. But apart from that, you can learn by doing. Wallahi, like, just the best way to learn actually is pick a business, your dad's business, your friend's business. See what you can automate. See how you can cut some of their costs. For example, in my apartment downstairs, there's a really popular laundry service, right? Popular in the area, in my area, most of my building. So you can go to them, or you can call them, get this done, clean and iron for like 10 dirham. You know them ones, right? And then they deliver it to you. But they have the worst customer service because they have so much inbounds. They forget to tell you when it's ready, so you can, excuse me. So you can build an automation where it notifies them, it notifies you when it's ready. So I posted this in my WhatsApp community for my students. I was like, yo, who wants to do this? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to take this client on because they're probably not going to pay that well. And I'm busy. And then, alhamdulillah, wallahi, within 24 hours, we had one brother from Denmark who went through the program, but also done a lot of his own research. and created a Loom video on how he can automate. He actually already built automation with N8N, how he can automate that part of their business and get them more trusted leads. Because I started to not trust them after a while.
Yeah.
I started using Watchmen,
Okay.
and other apps because these guys are just taking a mic, like
Yeah.
they're not 5 days to wash and iron this. Like, come
Yeah,
on,
yeah,
bro,
yeah.
you're downstairs, so
Exactly.
this will help them, inshallah, get quicker. But take that and apply it to other businesses, ecom. I have a large network of like, 7, 8 figure entrepreneurs that I know that, either are busy or I'm busy. And I just kind of like give work to all of these mentees that I've mentored throughout, 6 months. And then they do all these websites, they automate things, they build apps with people, and then we get a good case study, and they get some money as well. So that's a good way. Just learn by building and tinkering.
Mm. Perfect. Perfect. So, before we end the podcast, what's one message that you have for someone 18 to 20-year-old watching right now? And with Ramadan around the corner, what's one thing that an AI specialist would advise the youth about anything? Utilize Ramadan, whatever.
Right now, you are in the best time in history to build a living without sacrificing your your deen. You're using technology that isn't hurting people, um, that isn't spreading misinformation if you want. Um, and now is the time to kind of passively start learning about this to help you kind of escape whatever trials and tribulations that you're going through by making an income that can really help yourself, your family, generations to come. Then you can kind of spend that time because you're already young now. If you're 18, if you're 20 years old watching this, if you think you have time, you don't. You know, like this is the time. Your 20s is the best time to build and learn and earn. Your 30s is the best time to kind of like establish yourself. And then after that, who knows where your life may end up? We're seeing so many signs of a day judgment at this point. So take advantage. You don't want the judge to knock on your door by the time you're 30, and you're like, oh, I didn't make money yet. Why is it coming now? I wasn't, on this I didn't get invited on this podcast yet. I wanted to make it before I get invited on the podcast. Use your time now. Travel as much as you can. Travel the world, experience different cultures, and whatever you do, never miss a salah.
Of course. Jazakallah khair, Shoaib.
Oh yeah,
Barakah. Attending
Barakah.
and giving us your time. Obviously, speak to the youth. So, with that said, my brothers and sisters, may Allah guide you and may Allah protect you, protect your salah, protect your intentions, bring barakah into your life.
I mean,
This is me and so youtube.com, bruv. Signing off. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.